Three main things I make are prints, comics, and paintings. What I like about each of them is that I'm going to have complete control of the image I'm making and the communication I'm setting up. I like the idea of the paintings being big, because then that makes them more like public murals. If I'm showing them, that it invites the public in and hopefully entertains them. I like having access to printmaking and comics as well, because then that gives me an economically populist side to the art I'm making as well. So it's not just for galleries or just for rich collectors. I realized, oops, I've made this thing that's 27 foot long, that only 15 of them exist in the world. All of a sudden I've made a very expensive object. And so my impulse is, can I make that in another version? I like the idea a lot of times of having a certain ambiguity in the work. That while it might be obvious that I'm liberal in my politics, this or that it still might be not completely resolved and complete just propaganda. I'm not trying to set up necessarily a reaction that I know that I'm going to get. I'm trying to make something that would be both thought-provoking and entertaining. And then it's up to the viewer, the reaction they have. But the idea with the sense of humor. So I try to keep that in there as well. So I think of them as a cross between Hogarth and Mad Magazine. I finished up a large silkscreen book called Slumburbia a couple of years ago, and it was kind of the final book in a series called The Sinner's Progress. I'd made this giant 27-foot long silkscreen book, but it was an expensive project. And so then I wanted to make a cheap version of it, so I made a newspaper version that was able to wheat paste out in front of printed matter, and then able to make that an affordable edition of the fancier silkscreen book. I make these silkscreen printed light boxes that I call sin signs, which I kind of think of them being halfway between a barroom sign and a stained glass window. Desert Island has a great window, and I love the idea of making stuff that interacts with the public. So at both locations, Desert Island and Printed Matter, I made things that light up at night so they can be seen 24/7. The current project I'm working on, Dreamerica, a prophecy, so it's playing off William Blake with his America prophecy. It's also playing off of Yoshitoshi's 100 Aspects of the Moon. So I'm thinking of it as maybe 100 aspects of a dying, aging empire, but just more, not so much critique as like an elegiac look at American history and the ghosts of American history that are still hanging around for good or for bad. Artists should be political, but as an artist, there's always a selfish side, that you're making this stuff for yourself first. So I like the idea that if I'm making it for me first, I'm also making it to communicate. So that's the unselfish side. And so hopefully the thought-provoking, entertaining aspect is my version of politics. I think just anytime you're kind of questioning stuff, that makes you political just by the nature. There's a big history of printmaking being very much about communication, about politics like broadsides and so on, and social critique. And so I guess what I like to try to do in art is basically it gives me the chance to think about the things I'm interested in, and it gives me a chance to communicate those. So I think right there, that's a political act.